right.
Okay.
And we're rocking.
All right.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to SongNet. This is going to be a really interesting evening tonight. I've got my friend Randall Michael Tobin. Randy and I have known each other for many, many years, been to his studio a couple times. He was actually working with Just Plain Folks many years ago, Brian Austin Whitney and all that. So he's been part of our independent songwriting community for many years. And he's got a great studio and everything else. He'll be telling us more about what he does and everything else. So right off the bat, we're going to get a little bit of a tour of what Randy does and what his studio looks like. So Randy, take it away from here.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Theta Sound Studio. I founded the studio back in August of 1977. So we're going on our 48th year of continuous operation with me at the helm, which is probably very far and few between studios in the world today where the original owner is still running the studio to this day, and the studio is operating. I've been at this location in Burbank since 1988, and I'm going to use my camera here and just kind of give you a quick little tour of the facility. And as you can see, we've got some old school reel-to-reel stuff. We have analog desks, 2 of them. They're all linked together. If you look behind, various rack effects and stuff like that. Of course, let's look around the control room. Through the glass, there's a beautiful grand piano, Yamaha C5, drum booth, etc., etc. A lot of old school keyboards because I bought them when they came out, just like I bought vinyl when it came out back in the 60s and 70s. So I still have it. And now, we do a lot of things through digital converters and in the box and stuff like that. But I've been producing and writing.
Like a light crowd, that's good for me.
Yeah, I've been producing and writing since like 1973. I started when I was went to the Air Force out of high school for lack of anything better to do. And while I was there, it kind of forced me to decide what to do with my life. And music was, electronics were passions of mine. So I decided to throw myself full into that. And by the time I got out of the service, I had a small recording studio worth of gear, and I'd had 1,000 hours of experience because I set up a recording studio in my barracks room, and me and other like-minded musicians that were in the Air Force got together and we started creating. It was fantastic. I got out of the service, went to Florida for a year with some of my Air Force friends who got out as well, and we set up a studio there and on the Panhandle, Fort Walton Beach, Florida, and we did that for a year, played in a couple bands. Came back to LA, which is where I'm from, and worked for a pro sound company for a bit. And then I started my own recording studio because I sent out a resume to 25 different studios. I figured, hey, I've got all this experience now. I pretty much know what I'm doing. Somebody will hire me. And I got like one response back saying I could clean ashtrays and sweep the floors. So I said, to heck with that. I'm just going to start my own place. Somebody heard some of the work I was doing just for fun with other people, and they said, wow, sounds cool. Can you record me? How much does it cost? That was August of 77, and I think I charged $8 an hour at that point. And we were doing 6-track because I had 2 4-track machines. I could do 4-track, and I could bounce down to 2 and add 2 more. And that's what I started with. Now, of course, there's no limit to tracks, and we charge $150 an hour. So that is the kind of the quick history of Theta Sound. I've worked with a number of really, really, great people. Most of the stuff we do is with independent singer-songwriters, but we have had some celebrities in. And on the songwriting front, you probably know Harriet Schock. She's certainly a long time, very good friend of mine. Done a number of things here at the studio. Ray Manzarek of the Doors was in the studio. Isaac Hayes was in the studio. On the songwriting side, we had Ray Livingston was in, Michelle Browerman, Amanda McBroom, a whole bunch of great people have been in the studio here. But for the most part, it's a lot of indie stuff. I'm going to play a couple of things for you to get a feel for the kind of stuff that I've done, both as a songwriter and as a producer engineer and a video editor. And I'm going to share my screen here. And that's the one. And share sound and optimize for video. Okay. Let's go back here for a moment. All right. Share. All right. So first, let me go back here. One of the artists I've worked with is actually someone that I, as a kid, was a real fan of. It's a guy named Mel Carter. He wrote a song, or he sang a song. He didn't write it, but he put this song on the map, and they still play this song to this day. You may have heard of it. It's "Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me." Came out in the 60s. He came to our studio on a recommendation for me to mix something for him, a 24 track of a song called "Louder Than the Gun" or something like that, "Stronger Than the Gun." He loved the work, and then he came in and he said, "I want to do some work with you." So he ended up doing 3 records with me, and then we did some reissues of some older stuff. This was a song from the last album Mel did with me called "Mel Carter Continues." And it's got big band on it. Grant Geisman on guitar. You may have heard of him. A number of people in this video are quite known in the industry as far as studio musicians and stuff. And Mel and his buddy from back in the day, Lenny Welsh, are doing a duet in this song that was written for a show that they did in Las Vegas. And it's called "The Legends of Rock and Roll." I'm going to play this here. You're going to see it recorded here in our studio. This is a live recording. And then I did post-production editing on all the cameras I set up. And you're about to kind of see the studio and hear Mel and Lenny perform this piece. So here we go.
Here we go. This is Legends of Rock and Roll. Take the chair. One, two.
We're still young, we're still kicking. We sang our songs, and you fell in love. Those were happier times when we were free in our minds. That's when we became the legends of rock and roll. Some of us may have gone to that great beyond, but the songs that we sang will live on and on. The songs made you happy then, they make you feel good now. We're the legends of rock and roll. Remember when we danced through the night, holding your baby real tight, whispering love talk in her ear. Today on the dance floor, you can't hold her close anymore, and whispering becomes a scream. But we'll go on singing our love songs, putting the magic into your heart. You can keep that rap music, for we're not into that. You can keep the hip-hop hopping, 'cause we don't stand for that. We'd rather sing our love song, for us that's where it's at. We're the legends of rock and roll. Hey, Lenny, talk to me. Back in the day when the balladeers, we used to come out on stage. Oh, yeah. The women would scream and yell and throw their keys and all sorts of things they would throw on stage, and then we would swoop down and pick them up and be glad about it. Amen. But nowadays when they throw stuff on the stage, we swoop down and help me up. All right. Get up. Somebody help me up. Get up. Hey, come on. I got you. Come on and help me up now. I got you. Come on, brother. I got you. You can keep that rap music, 'cause we don't stand for that. You can keep the hip-hop hopping, oh, we're not into that. We'd rather sing our love song, for us, that's where it's at. We're the legends. Yes, we're the legends. We're the legends of rock and roll. You got that right. Well, we did excerpts from the show. And the reason why we did excerpts from the show is because we need more money to do the show. Listen, man, we could be the Black Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin. You got that right. You got that right.
All right. That was Mr. Mel Carter and Lenny Welsh. Lenny overdubbed his part. He wasn't in the live session. It was an overdub. That's why we have him split screen in there. And everybody hear that all right? Did that turn out? I got a thumbs up from Jim.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
thank you. All right, and the last thing I'm going to do here, at least the next thing, this is a song that I wrote and produced for a client that I was doing a record with. Her name is Amy, the album Vocal Essence by Amy. And it happened, because this is a good little tip for songwriters, anything can inspire a song. I was mixing a song for Amy on one of the songs I was mixing for her album, stuff we'd been working on as co-writers, and some things I wrote entirely for her. And she came in, and I was mixing this tune, and she looked at me, and she goes, "Ah, it's kind of cool." And I looked at her, and I said, "That's a song." And that night, I wrote this song, and she came over the next day, and I played her my demo of it, and she was like, "Wow." And I said, "Yeah, and I know exactly who we're going to get to do this with." Because this album, every song on the album is a different genre, different thing. And this was going to be a piece that was going to have like a jazz trio on it. It's the only song on the record that actually has like a trio. And so I brought in some really good players that I know, Jeff Colella on piano, Randy Landis on bass, and Rod Harbour on drums. And then I wrote a string part for it. We recorded it live, and Amy was in the vocal booth. This is the 5th take. She starts off the song saying, "Kind of cool, take 5." And then I did another vocal pass afterwards in case I needed to fly anything in. And then I added the string parts and then mixed it. Ended up entering this in the Great American Song Contest, and won Best Adult Contemporary for that year song, which was like an honor. So you never know what can happen when somebody says something that all of a sudden strikes you as, wow, that's a song. So this is kind of cool.
Kind of cool, take 5. Kinda cool how you crept into my life just like a song, and the melody keeps playing on and on. You know, I think that's kinda cool. Took me by surprise with just a look, and the story in your eyes read like a book. out on a limb in a place where trees are getting kind of thin. Kind of cool that I feel it even though you're miles away. How you're with me every minute of the day. Yeah, I think that's kind of cool. That's really kind of cool. Chance to go out on a limb in a place where trees are getting kind of thin. Kind of cool that I feel it even though you're miles away. How you're with me every minute of the day. Yeah, I think that's kind of cool. You know, that's really kind of cool.
Thank you. I want to bring up one point here before we jump in. If you go to my website, thetasound.com, you'll see that there was a section here called Live Studio Concerts. Between 2014 and 2019, I produced 44 home studio concerts in our studio, and I recorded them all with multi-camera, high def, and multi-track sound. I post-produced one song from each artist, and I put it up on the website. I did that at no charge. These house concerts, I charged donations, and all the money went to the artists. So we didn't collect any money at all. I wanted to make sure that the music, the kind of music that I was inspired by, like that from Laurel Canyon, I kind of got into this Laurel Canyon revisited sort of vibe, where we had artists like Joni Mitchell, Jackson Browne, Crosby, Stills and Nash, The Doors, Monkees, Frank Zappa, Carole King, a lot of these people that, you know, created that sound while all being in close proximity to each other. I was looking to kind of bring that back. And I found a number of songwriters that actually did that for me, and I brought them in, and we had 2 acts per night, separated with an intermission. And we asked each artist to give 1 CD each to the people who donated, and people could buy more CDs if they wanted to. But for the price that we were charging, $20 a person or $30 a couple, I wanted the artists to give something back to that. And I also told the artist, I'm recording this whole thing with your permission, and if you want to, if you want the footage, I had a flat fee of $200. They could get all the audio and all the video streams from me. All I had to do was bring a drive, and I would transfer it over for them. And I said, otherwise, I can post-produce it for you, and you can pay me my hourly rate. So some had me post-produce videos for them. One person made an album out of it, and others just said, yeah, I'll take the footage. So I wasn't doing this for money. I was doing this because I want this music to survive. And when you go on this page here, you'll see all the artists who perform, the dates. Some of these songwriters have been quite successful as songwriters, and some as songwriters and performers. But do check it out. Click on any one of these things. It'll take you right to that particular video. And it'll be 2 videos, and it'll have a little thing in here. You can check out the 2 different things that are here. It's educational as well as inspiring, plus the fact that you'll probably hear some of the best audio that you've ever heard from a live performance. I take pride in post-producing these things so they sound wonderful. And so did the artists. They felt the same way. So do check that out. And just wanted to make that available as a resource. And I certainly was inspired. That's why I did it for 5 years. And we pretty much, the last one we did was, I think, maybe a year or 6 months before everything shut down. So that's the end of my sharing of audio and stuff like that. Now I guess I'm ready to help you guys out. I want to start off by saying that this is what I look for as a producer. When I'm producing music or songs or anything, I'm looking for communicating the message of the artist. And even if it's instrumental, there's going to be a connection. There's going to be something that the artist is trying to communicate. When I work with somebody who's a singer-songwriter, I'm looking for the best performance that they can perform if they're performing it. And if they're bringing somebody else in to perform it, I'm looking to get the best performance from the performer, whoever's doing that. The main thing is that the music should not get in the way of the message. The music should support the message. People shouldn't be distracted by the music. They should be guided along or lifted by the music, like, wind beneath your wings kind of a thing, so that the message and the artist can communicate the visual or the movie, that basically the mini movie, which songs are, they can communicate that whole place in time, that emotional place, that place that the person who wrote the song wanted to communicate something. And ideally, you want the person on the other end to get what you as a songwriter created. That's what I try to do as a producer in making sure that that happens. You've only seen a very small example of what I just showed you, helping Mel Carter with his big band, and the song that I wrote for Amy, which was inspired just by the words that she said to me. But there was obviously something that connected with me when she said it, and that's why I was inspired to write it. And love the way it turned out. Every time I play the song for people, they freak out. They go, oh my God. So thanks for listening there. And my approach to evaluating anything that I'm going to hear from you guys is I'm going to be looking for those things. I'm going to be looking for the visual, the message, the emotion. And I'm not beyond, loving production. Production is really cool too, as long as it supports the message. Because I love toys just as much as anyone else. And Quincy Jones and Ear Candy and Michael Jackson and all this stuff. It's all about, grabbing your ear. But in the end, it all comes down to who's singing the song and did it help the song. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jimmy, and let's go.
Well, actually, it's Steve's thing from now on. Steve is our technical director, and he does all that good stuff.
All right.
But there was one thing I wanted to comment on. I noticed that you had Chauncey Bowers in there in some of those one of those clips there.
Yeah, he's one of the artists that performed for us. Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure there's a story with him.
Oh, there's definitely stories. It was fun. It was fun choosing the artist to be part of the series, because there's an organization called concertsinyourhome.com, and it's a house concert website, artists or songwriters who want to perform house concerts. They sign up with the site. They pay $300 a year to be on it. And as a host, if you have a place where you can actually host these artists, you don't pay anything. You just sign up and you turn on the green light or the red light or the yellow light, depending on if you're looking or not looking. And then you can have access to all these people who want to perform. And I was able to go through hundreds of songwriters until I found the ones that I'm going, this person is inspiring to me. They're wonderful players. They're wonderful writers. I can see them talking to the audience. I think they would do well in our venue. And it was through that I ended up meeting people from around the world and brought them into our studio to be part of that series. So I'm so glad that I did it for myself, because I got to meet some amazing songwriters, and the depth and breadth of what people brought to the table here was just phenomenal. And our intimate audience of about as many as 40 people when Harriet Schock performed. But usually in the studio, we had about maybe 20, 25 people in the studio with PA system and everything. Everyone was blown away. There was no place in town where you could get this kind of quality of performance without the noise or distractions of a cash register and drinks, serving and bars and food and all the other crap that goes along with like performing in a club. This was, amazing entertainment in an intimate setting, and that was kind of how we promoted it as the Theta Sound Studio live studio concert series. So, and I think you guys will be inspired by what you see on that. So, okay, over to you, Steve. Tell me what we've got coming up.
Yeah, first of all, that was concertsinyourhome.com. Is that what that was?
Yeah, concertsinyourhome.com.
Okay. I'll put that in the chat just so
I
people
sure hope
know where that is.
they're still doing their thing. I know they might have stopped during COVID, but I'm sure glad the guy, put that out there, and I got to meet a lot of great writers that way.
Okay, so we'll start off with, first of all, is there anybody east, or is everybody in LA tonight? I think everybody's here, right? Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right. So we'll start off with Cameron DeVries. These are in the order that I basically received them.
Okay.
This is called In the Cards. And let me share my screen. And if I think the volume level should be fine.
Give up the normal life for something deep inside. Give up a normal life for something I can't find. Who are you running through this maze? You're like a tireless horse who can't find the race, looking for the answers to all your questions in just one place. But you gotta look around and keep those questions on your mind. Keep those questions on your mind. Is it in the cards? Is this the way? Does fate get involved? Or do we have the last say? Giving all of myself up to you for the chance to write, the chance to see what I can become. And I'm signing away on my hopes and my dreams, highest bidder, the one who can show me the way to happiness. Show me the way, hey, show me the way, show me the way, hey, hey. Na 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 na. Is it in the clouds? Is this the way? Does fate get involved? Or do we have the last say? Give up the normal life, 'cause I.
All right. Thank you, thank you. That's okay. First of all, I like the vibe. Okay, I think it's a good hook, and I can see where it's coming from. Lyrically, there aren't too many visuals in this. It's all questions that the listener has to kind of figure out while they're listening to the song. So it's enigmatic. There is a place for that. And I'm not saying that you should just completely change this around, but in the cards, I was hoping that there would be, especially in the chorus, there might be something visual that I might be able to lock onto from the standpoint, is it in the cards? Am I the king or the jack? I mean, I was looking for something visual that would connect it with me, because right now it's a lot of philosophical questions, and I'm trying to track with that. In other words, I have to work a little hard as the listener to do that. I'm not saying there isn't a place for songs like that, because there are a lot of songs that are out there that are rhetorical and are asking questions, and I like, in that regard, the poetry and the lyric is really sharp. But I'm thinking that if this is a song that you want to place, or is this something that you want to perform yourself? Are you wanting to place, or are you a performer?
But both. But yeah, I mean, I'm focused on trying to place it as kind of like a lo-fi. It's a work in progress right now.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, for me personally, it was like, because of that, I don't have any visuals to remember. I just remember you're kind of asking the question and wondering if this is going to work or not. Can we do it? Is it in the cards? Is it up to fate? It's like everything is like, it's a question. And we don't know the answer. And I didn't get to the end of the song, so I don't know whether it'll ever resolve or not, whether the question gets answered or it doesn't. It's like the song that you heard that I wrote, Kind of Cool, was written about asking the question. It was a bit sort of like, is this going to work? Is it going to work? But it was also filled with enough visuals that you kind of saw the picture of the two meeting, and wow, should I go out on a limb for this guy or not? So I think there's definitely potential with the tune. You might want to, have that lyric, and then you might want to try coming up with a lyric that has some visual pathways in it that allow us to see your journey. Walking down the street, looking straight ahead, not sure if what you said, blah blah blah. Something that all of a sudden I can see the drama acting out. That's just for me. Okay, I think as the way that it is as a philosophical and a questioning kind of a song, that could work too for an audience that's looking for that. I think for a more general audience, the more visual you get, the more emotional connection you get. Because unless I can totally track with what you're asking, it didn't emotionally connect with me. I just kind of got, wow, guy's kind of in limbo, not sure, whatever. So that's it. you know. Love the vibe though. I mean, and I think that there's potential for this piece. So cool.
Yeah, I
Okay,
liked it too.
next.
And on the flip side of that as well, when you're pitching for film and TV, you kind of want it to be a little bit ambiguous because it can fit a lot more different scenes. It's not exactly something. So in that respect, I think it would be very good. And Steve, do you happen to have your speakers on?
No. What do you mean? my
Because I noticed
speakers
that
on?
it was cutting in and out just a little bit, as if every time something loud came up, then it was tracking your microphone instead of the thing. So
I think what happened is I was opening a file to get ready for the next person, and when I open a file, I think it interrupts. I think the bandwidth, a Word file winds up being pretty big and interrupts sometimes. Maybe
oh,
that's
okay.
it.
Yeah, but
All
it still
right.
sounded good, so no problem
Okay,
there. So.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we got next,
Jim-
Steve.
And Jimmy, I agree with you. If something is written for a purpose, like if someone's looking for something like that for visual media, then yeah, it's true. Sometimes you just want, that's the scene. The guy's going through this thing visually. Oh, you got a song that backs that up. So entirely possible that the song as it is would work in that situation. I was just thinking of, okay, singer-songwriter pitching, who's it going to? So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, next up we have Larambe, and this is called Sweet Melody.
Okay. Larambe.
Let me share my screen.
Did you want to say anything about it, Larambe? He's up. He's unmuted. I'm not hearing him.
Oh. Is he muted? Is he?
He's not muted.
Are you there, Larambe? Maybe he's not here. We'll just go ahead.
All right.
He can always
After. Okay.
go it afterwards or something. Okay.
Sweet melody. Heard her loud and clearly. She touched me deep. Well, she was so appealing, piqued my curiosity. Had insightful lyrics that were so compelling, and her performance was so overwhelming. Sweet melodies playing again, playing again. Now I hear music where there had never been. There were many musical choices, but I chose hers instead. 'Cause sweet melodies stuck in my head. She got the rhyme and the rhythm, rhythm has a natural flow. She sings with conviction, straight from her soul. I listen closely, closely, 'cause she speaks to me. Feels like our spirits are in perfect harmony. Sweet melodies playing again, once again. Now I hear music where there had never been, never been. I had my choice of music, but I chose hers instead. 'Cause sweet melodies stuck in my head. Every time we meet, we never miss a beat. Singing duets into our harmony. Since we begun, every song we sung turns into a symphony. Yeah. I had my choice of music. I chose hers instead. 'Cause melody is stuck in my heart. Melody is stuck in my head. Sweet melodies playing again.
All right. Sweet is right. Thank you so much for that. I can't see you, but I can hear you. I loved it.
Thank you.
I love the song. And I love how, first of all, it's spiritual and it's visual. There's visual in what you're describing because I can actually go like, wow, something stuck in my head, the melody. At first, I didn't know it was about a girl. I thought it was about a muse.
Exactly.
I thought it was like, whatever inspires you. So the song has two meanings. It could be about someone you love, someone you like, you had a choice of many, or whatever inspires you to create.
You got it.
I like the fact that that's the way it went. I thought that the groove and the track supported that. The vocal arrangement, sweet. I'm a vocal arranger and I love stuff like that. I thought that the interplay and how it was arranged and stuff was that's why I wanted to hear the whole thing. I didn't want it to stop. I think this is definitely it's hit material. It's visual. You can do so many things with a music video for this. It could go from something spiritual to something romantic to anything that inspires you. You could a beautiful scene, a sunset or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many inspiring things that could be shown that to relate to that. So that's my take on it. I love it.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I think you did a wonderful create. I see you did this in 2021. It's timeless. This isn't the kind of thing that all of a sudden is like, okay, nobody's going to know what this is in 10 years, So thank you for sharing that with the group tonight. I'm glad I got a chance to hear it.
All right, most welcome.
All right. Next up, we have Gilles Levay, and this is called Living Like a Gringa.
Okay.
Gilles, you want to comment or anything?
Yeah, actually, because now that I've seen what Randall has put forth, it's like I've got the wrong song. But I read that you had a sense of humor, so I thought, well, I'll put this because this is very tongue-in-cheek, and I just released it for Cinco de Mayo, so let's just say it's festive.
No problem. No, I love all kinds of music. So, I mean, Alan Sherman was one of my favorites growing up. So I have quite the sense of humor when it comes to music. So.
All right.
Well, it's about when I lived in Mexico.
Living like a gringa, dancing in the dark. 2 left feet down a one-way street, no walk in the park. Living like a gringa, trying to fit in. Nothing sweeter than a margarita, but this gal prefers her gin. Living like a gringa, making this my town. Feeling artsy for the mariachi, put that trumpet down. I'm holding out for a strong man to sweep me off my feet. But there's no man around, it's thin on the ground, a good man I've yet to meet. Living like a gringa, taking it on the chin. Either the Dolce Vita, it's not the ultimate sin. Living like a gringa, dancing in the dark. 2 left feet down a one-way street, no walk in the park. I'm holding out for a strong man to sweep me off my feet. But there's no man around, it's thin on the ground, a good man I've yet to meet. Living like a gringa, Fernando was his name. As he slipped the ring on my finger, I say, no way, Jose, a gringa I'll remain.
The sound was terrible. What was that?
I was trying to get someone's attention, including Gia, saying to mute your mic because I think your mic was causing the sound to cut in and out
Was that it?
by having your microphone on because you're listening, right? For whatever reason, it was cutting in and out. So
Yeah,
I
terrible.
didn't have my attention on what was going on. I tried to solve the technical problem. I'd like to hear it again and see if we can solve that problem because I really want to hear this song. It's short.
Sorry. Okay, I'll take my microphone off.
Mute it, yeah. Everybody should mute their mic except for the, including Stephen. As long as we can, maybe that will help. Zoom is a tricky thing, so let's try it again, and I'll let you know visually whether it's working or not, okay?
Living like a gringa, dancing in the dark. 2 left feet down a one-way street, no walk in the park. Living like a gringa, trying to fit in. Nothing sweeter than a margarita, but this gal prefers her gin. Living like a gringa, making this my town. Feeling artsy for a mariachi, put that trumpet down. I'm holding out for a strong man to sweep me off my feet. But there's no man around, it's thin on the ground, a good man I've yet to meet. Living like a gringa, taking it on the chin. Either the Dolce Vita, it's not the ultimate sin. Living like a gringa, dancing in the dark. 2 left feet down a one-way street, no walk in the park. I'm holding out for a strong man to sweep me off my feet. But there's no man around, it's thin on the ground, a good man I've yet to meet. Living like a gringa, Fernando was his name. As he slipped the ring on my finger, I say, no way, Jose, a gringa I'll remain.
Much better. Much better. So we know
Definitely.
we know the drill now. Everybody stay muted when we're listening to the music. All right. Wonderful piece. Wonderful songs. Yeah, I love it. It's perfect for what you've created. And it is definitely, I mean, I love all kinds of music. I love stuff from the 1920s to the 2020s. I grew up, fortunately, in a musical family. And I see that as such a great performance piece that whoever is going to pick this up and perform it, whether it's you or someone else, you can just have just so much attitude. There's so many visuals in it.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much attitude. There's visuals, there's attitude. And it's the kind of thing where, the choreography, the whole thing would be a piece that people would be applauding for at the end of this thing. Because it tells a story.
Right.
And it's sassy. And it really describes the character. Visually, lyrically, the whole thing. I'm like, okay, I got it. So I think that there's life for this piece. It could be, I don't know what your intention is for this, but
I don't know either.
no, but the reason why I'm saying is because sometimes people write shows for plays and musicals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they're looking for something that works for a particular scene.
Right.
In which case, you might be able to collaborate with a playwright to put a musical together because it looks like you have the skills to be able to write an entire work. If you can do that, you can do anything.
Well, I actually, I shot a video in San Miguel de Allende, if you know that community, which is colonial, and during Dias de los Muertos, you get all, the face makeup and the Katrina thing. And I shot a music video for that song.
Oh,
Put
okay.
it out on YouTube. Actually, I just put it in the chat.
Okay.
And so it's telling that story that you're talking about. It's telling that story. I'm getting good feedback, and I videotaped it during. Everyone around me is kind of getting ready for Dias de los Muertos, the big celebration with the parade and everything that night, and all these people. It just kind of like sea of people around me as I'm singing the song.
Yeah.
Lips.
Oh,
Well, I'm singing the song. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I definitely want to watch that video and see what you did.
Well, thanks for your ears. Glad I could share.
Yeah. It's telling a
I mean,
story.
I'm very impressed. I just want to say before leaving, I'm very impressed with the way that the sound that I heard from that live performance. I mean, that skill to really get all of the nuances of all the different the vocals and the instrumentation. I know that when you've got just a big room full of people like that. So just wanted to say that. Good job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think I'd love to hear more stuff that you've got.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Just to hear it, I'll go to your YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, actually, Gia LeVay Music,
Yeah.
is my YouTube channel. But thank you. Yeah.
Okay. No, that was the right. That was a great song to present tonight.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because I
Because
have jazz
yeah,
stuff that was more like adult contemporary is very hard to market.
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
you realize, a few years ago, I came up with this concept because of what you said. There is a forgotten audience out there.
Yeah,
The record companies are not concerned at all with this huge demographic of people who love adult contemporary music.
that's
Like
right.
Joni Mitchell would not make it in today's environment,
I don't think so.
considering what's being played. Yet her stuff was, even as we were kids, was very mature and wonderful, and we grew up with it. So that's why I was trying to keep this kind of music alive, and I call it the forgotten audience.
And
And
you know,
I think
the
the
groundswell of the marketplace, it's just that they're
yeah,
set in the ways and the way that they consume music. They don't know, they want to go back to what they listened to. And, radio stations play adult contemporary, but it's all kind of controlled by the labels. It's like the indie artist doing adult contemporary. It's very hard to find a place for it.
exactly. I agree. So that's why I kind of liked the house concert thing because I heard about this book written by a gal. She said, how I made 25,000 a month as a house concert artist, and she wrote it up perfectly. And I'm going, these people have a better shot at doing well for themselves career wise and financially doing house concerts than they ever do getting a record deal.
Yeah, I think so. I think
And
so.
they can play the music they want. They can
And it's
connect with
lovely.
audiences directly, and
Yeah,
it is such. I mean, and people can come to a house concert and donate and don't have to spend $500 a ticket,
right.
for to be part of a zoo. And I that's another thing I admired about the artists who were not from LA, because I brought in a local artist and a traveling artist in every show. I knew the local artist would bring people in the audience. The traveling artists, no matter how good I thought they weren't going to pull people from LA because they're not from LA. So I managed to put both of them together, and then the people who did come were very happy that they did. They were like, "Wow, I would have never experienced this if it weren't for you telling me this." And I came to see my friend who played the opening act.
Right.
So, yeah.
No, it's a
Well,
whole different ambiance, and for the performer themselves, it's a whole different experience too, because it's so intimate, and you get to actually talk with the people afterwards and get
yeah.
feedback, and yeah,
And during the show. I mean,
that
because these guys would do the thing and they would introduce the
casual.
song, yeah, and which is the way I think it should be. People should. I mean, Harriet Schock has made an art form out of this, out of coming up with the right story behind the song to introduce the song and get into the song. And by the time you're done, you're going, wow, I have been moved.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's do it. Let's put together house concerts all over the place.
Yeah, I'd love to restart the house concert thing again. I have no problem with it. I think it's a great thing. And of course, COVID kind of killed everything, but we never closed during COVID. We didn't have to, and people were glad we were open, even though we were considered, quote unquote, an essential service because we're like a studio. I don't know why, but I would have stayed open anyway, just because I thought, the world needs this more than anything else. So thank you so much, Gia.
Thank you.
Let's move to the next one. Who's next, Mr. Steve?
Gotta unmute myself here. Yeah. Okay. Next one is Lucy, and this is called Siren Song. And Lucy, want to have any comment before we start?
I don't see Lucy here.
Oh, really? Oh, she's not. Okay. Okay. We'll skip over and maybe play it at the end or something, and then go to
Catherine.
Next up, which is Catherine Beck. Yeah. Catherine, let's see. Your song is called "Where Are You, Christmas?" And you want to comment on it?
I got the idea from meeting a guy in front of the grocery store. He was a Salvation Army guy ringing his bell. And I saw him a couple days later, and he remembered me, and I just thought of a song. That's how it came about.
Okay. Share my screen.
Don't forget to mute yourself, Stephen.
Yes.
Christmas is coming, I'm on a long break. Catch up with old friends, got some cookies to make. There's a guy in a red suit ringing a bell. I've seen him before, he's got some Christmas to tell. Then he asked how I'm doing, it blew me away. Strangers don't ask that 'cause we're here in LA. Seems like nobody's home. Where are you, Christmas? Where have you gone? Sent the angels out to find you. Where are you, Christmas? I know that you belong. Been looking for you everywhere. He said his name's Colonel, and if he lived next door, I'm sure he'd be my friend, 'cause he's been there before. 'Cause he makes a difference, and that's all that counts. I'll see you next year, everything will work out. And I started thinking about all this good cheer, when I said to myself, I've got nothing to fear. I can do that too, I can do that too. Where are you, Christmas? Where have you gone? Sent the angels out to find you. Sent the angels out. Where are you, Christmas? I know that you belong. Been looking for you everywhere. I drove down to St. Luke's, not far away. Brought my guitar and some music to play. Went through the front door, what did I see? My old friend Colonel smiling back at me. Then he gave me a big hug, as warm as could be, and sang right along
All right. Thank you. It's Catherine, right?
Yes.
Okay. Um, First of all, I love the concept. I love the story. Okay. I loved the music is quite beautiful. Um, a couple of things. Number one, I would have liked to have seen the finished lyric sheet on this,
I
and
know. Sorry.
not something completely different than what was sung.
I know. I forgot to change it.
Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind if we're coming to doing something like this.
Okay.
Overall, I thought it's great. When you got to the chorus, I thought the first line of the chorus was really good, but the second line threw me due to its melodic complexity. In other words, this is a Christmas song, which is something that you want people to remember and be memorable. So I thought that it didn't need to be as syncopated and as intricate on some of the lines to communicate the message as it is. Like the second song, the second line, I'm watching this and all of a sudden it's going off and I'm thrown off by the complexity of the melody rather than getting the message of that line. And I think with holiday songs, the simpler they are, then the more people who decide to do them can put their own personality into it. It seems to me, I mean, I love the song, so don't get me wrong. I think that what would make it stronger is making it simpler in parts. And that because it distracted me, and I didn't want to be distracted. So it's like, put the lyric sheet up for a second. I want to see the lyric, Stephen. Just want to see that in front. Now, this is something you're wanting to pitch to other people to sing, right, Catherine? Or is this something that you performed this as well as an artist?
Well, I performed it, but yeah, I'd like to place it somewhere.
Okay. So let's see, the first chorus is like, where are you, Christmas, which is good. And it was sort of very syncopated on that second line, sing that melody for me on the second line.
Where have you gone?
Yeah, it was in time with the music, it was quite syncopated.
Okay.
So it's like, where are you, Christmas? Where have you gone? It's like something simpler there, and then sent the angels to find you. In other words, I wouldn't be distracted. I'd be following along on the groove. It's possible by the time you get to the third chorus, you could put a little different flair on that line once people have it locked in that that's how the song goes.
Okay.
Okay. So that to me would make the song more sellable, more duplicatable. Probably one of my favorite words that I like to use when it comes to songwriting is songs should be duplicatable. Someone should be able to hear a song and already almost be able to sing it for you. This was the mark of songs from the 60s and some from the 70s, where you heard the tune and then eventually you could go around singing it and you became the best ambassador for that song. I mean, think of like, I got sunshine on a cloudy day. Everybody was singing My Girl because that's how the melody and the words, everything was just so, and you could duplicate the song. You could remember it without even thinking about it. Nowadays, there's no way most of the music that's out there is duplicatable. You need technology and crazy stuff to recreate the sound. And then the lyrics are completely lost. I can't say of all the current stuff that's out there that I remember anything. It's not memorable. But you've written a song that has the potential to be extremely memorable, so just keep it simpler in the parts that are a little too whatever. As an independent artist with a good jazz feel, because you did put that jazz break in near the end, which is kind of cool. But I think once people have gotten the song and they've got that simple communication from you and they're thinking they're in the Christmas mood, it's like, wow, I'm digging on this and I like the story. So that's just my take on it.
Okay. Do you have any idea where I can pitch Christmas songs?
There's a whole Christmas pitch that I've seen come up. Was like called Christmas songs or whatever. I don't know whether you've submitted to them or not. There's also Coast 103 here does all Christmas songs in December. And one time I walked up with a radio ready CD of a song that I had that same artist that sang kind of cool. I wrote a Christmas song called Every Day With You Is Christmas for Me. And I presented that to Coast. I went right up to the station and I said, I've got a song for you guys to play. And I gave it to them. So, I mean, you can be as bold as you want, but they do play music. You can say, I'm local. You guys do Christmas music. I'd love for you to consider this. You know? And then they've got so many Christmas songs to play that I'm sure that they wouldn't mind, you know, if they listen to it and go, wow, we think this is good enough for what we want to do, they could put it on there and say this is from a local artist. Because they play the same stuff every year.
Yeah.
You know, Mariah Carey, they play the same covers of Christmas stuff every year. So I agree. We need new Christmas songs, new holiday songs. And I think your song is definitely a contender for that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Next up, we have Steve Medeiros, and
Mute your mic, Cal.
This song. I'm sorry. Oh, and this song is called "Seasons of the Soul." And Steve, you want to say anything? Is he here? Steve, you're muted. If you want to say anything.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, just really want feedback on lyric and melody primarily.
Okay.
All right.
From the day we are born, life begins to form. Love of a child, could there be much more? Growing, evolving, tripping, falling. It holds our purpose, it's our calling. Time has a way of making a chain, linking the past to the present day. As we grow, all we know, it's in the seasons of the soul. Twist of fate, times of change. Life takes shape, we feel pain. It carries the weight, lifts our faith. Gifts of the past, lighting the flame. Time has a way of making a chain, linking the past to present day. As we grow, all we know, it's in the seasons of the soul. The seasons of the soul. Bodies weaken, minds will fade. It grows stronger for our final day. Spiritual life, find finds eternal light, let it lead the way. Time has a way of making a change, linking the past to present day as we grow. All we know, it's in the seasons of the soul. The seasons of our soul.
Thank you, Stephen. Definitely wanted to hear that whole thing. I like it. Um, and I'll talk about the stuff that I like about it, and I'll tell you one or two little things that I have in mind.
Okay, cool.
Um, the vibe of this is that I can see one of these popular country singers on stage. I don't know all the names or whatever, Alan Jackson and this and that or whatever, but some of these people that basically, they pull, it's like, it's a personal statement. And I can see that type of performer performing that type of a song. In that regard, I'm trying to think as I was going through it. The last line is in the seasons of the soul, and I was hoping for something more like these are the seasons of the soul, because it's is kind of vague, but these is like more coming from the person, or the seasons of my soul. I mean, it's generic when you say seasons of the soul. It's like it applies to everybody. But you could mix it up a little bit and say, these are the seasons of my soul, or it's in the season of the soul, whatever. So that was a minor thing. The bridge sounds like another verse. There wasn't enough melodic change to where we were going to present it as something that sets up the final chorus. So it almost sounded like it was another verse to me. I like what you said, but it should probably take a different direction musically to set up going back into that final thing. What connects what you're saying to the final statement, and why the song matters. So I think it can work lyrically, and I just think that something needs to happen there, because I'm going, oh, this sounds like the verse. So we didn't have enough contrast between those two. But other than that, I think that's a definitely pitchable song that somebody would do well to take it on, put it on a record, if it's along the lines of the kind of thing that's what they perform.
Yeah.
It's different than these story songs that are complete setups that the Nashville songwriters do all the time, which are brilliant songs, but at the same time, it's like, how many of those can you get? This is a song that has a lot of visuals, and that's why I liked it. You painted pictures right from the beginning, and you connected them all together into something that's hard to visualize, a soul, a person's spirit. So it then becomes a feeling. You're describing a feeling, how a person looks at life, their faith in something, which is hard to communicate in a lyric. I think you did a great job of that.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
I like your suggestions, actually. Yeah, those are great. So the song is it's a work in progress. So
Okay.
it's not a finished song by far. Of course, they're never finished. Get away from me.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
appreciate that.
you're welcome. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're most of the way there.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Appreciate
Mhm.
it. Thank
Yeah.
you, guys. Good to
Okay.
see y'all.
Was that your vocal, Steve?
That is not. A friend of mine did that for me.
Did you do the music?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I wrote the music and the melody, the lyrics, everything are mine, but a friend of mine did the vocal. Yeah,
Okay.
and created the track for me as well.
Okay.
I needed it like in a quick fix to pitch to a publisher, so but I am planning to record it live.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Okay.
Keep on.
Cool. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Okay, next up we have Maya. This is called September Love a cappella.
Can I make a quick note, please?
Sure.
This is not a pitchable song, and I'm very new to songwriting, very, very new. So please keep that in mind. It's just a cappella. I recorded it right before the call, so excuse the sound quality and the fact that it's a cappella. Got to start somewhere, though.
Okay.
Well, if it's a cappella, you could just sing it right here, right? If you wanted to, you know.
Let's see.
Okay. Mute yourself, Stephen.
Oh, yeah.
September love comes from above, lights a fire in your eyes. I used to think when I was young I didn't deserve all of your love. Now that I'm older, I think I finally know your love cannot be earned. Unconditional love is a healer of the wounds of the soul. And just as the leaves begin to fall, I realize what it means to be whole. 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 Life without change seems so undone. Sparks of pity in your eyes. There used to be songs that were sung of journeys long all the way home. Battle here, a titan there. Oh, they can show you what you need to know. Unconditional love is a healer of the wounds of the soul. And just as the leaves begin to fall, I realize what it means to be whole. 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 What it means to be whole.
All right. Thank you, Maya. So, Maya, got your mic on? Okay, good.
Thanks.
That's a great effort. I appreciate it.
Yeah, everyone is very professional.
Yeah. It's okay. Well, don't say you're not professional. You're an artist. You're creative, and I get what you're trying to put out. And you have chord symbols there, so obviously you have something in mind in terms of musicality. Do you play an instrument?
Yeah, I'm learning guitar.
Okay. Did you create the song while you had those chord changes in mind on the guitar? And then but you didn't record any music to go with it.
No, because I just wrote that.
Yeah. Okay. This is something that I would definitely need to hear a musical anchor for this, because from a melodic standpoint, a lot of what you're doing is going to depend on where things are musically and rhythmically, because it's hard to lock into something like that. This is not an a cappella piece like Amazing Grace where everybody can sing this because they know where the one is in the measure and they know the melody. So I don't have an anchor to analyze this with. I think there's some good visuals, there's some good emotion, and there's certainly a lot of melodic artistry that's going on at the moment. But in order to be able to really kind of evaluate where it's going at this stage, I would need to hear the music that you have intended for that. You
Yeah,
know,
I only recorded guitar with the first verse, not the full thing.
yeah. So something to keep in mind, because unless it's like a simple melodic a cappella thing that people can get behind, like, you know, We Are the World, you could sing that a cappella and everybody knows where the music is, right? So I'd love to hear this when you do get a musical backing on it, and then I can kind of see where that's going. I think that lyrically, there's some broad strokes, watercolors, and things that are going on in the message. But I'm having to create something to anchor what you did with, and that kind of made it more difficult for me to track with it. So, but I think, you know, this is a good start. It's good to get something down, and then it's good to start adding the next parts to it and then see how that goes. I'm really interested to hear how that goes against the changes and the rhythms that you have in mind for this. So do send me, when you do get something more developed on this, send it to me because I'd like to hear it. My email address at the studio is rmt, as in Randall Michael Tobin, at thetasound.com. That's T as in Tom, HETA, sound.com. And just remind me to say, like, hey, I was at the SongNet thing on Wednesday, and my name's Maya, and you wanted to hear the song at the next level. So I would appreciate that.
Thank you. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yeah, Steve just dropped that in the chat, by the way, so you can check that out there.
Okay.
And also, Maya, where are you based?
I'm in LA right now.
What part of LA?
I just came here, but Rosemead, San Gabriel area.
Oh, wow, you're in my backyard.
Oh, cool.
Okay. No, because really there's a whole big singer-songwriter open mic kind of circuit that you can get into. And I'm at one every Thursday in South Pasadena, which isn't too far for you. And
I would love to learn from someone.
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a really good one. We also have musical theater there too. So I'll go ahead and drop that in the chat for you as well.
Thank you.
It's called the Jeweled Universe. And also there's a place called Kulak's Woodshed, which is very close to where Randy is there. Kulak's Woodshed's been around for many years, and it's also a multi-camera HD shoot. And what's even cooler is that there's a lot of really great artists that hang out there. This coming Monday is band night. Now, what band night is about is that if you come with charts like what you got there, if you're one of the first 8 people, you can hire the house band to do the song with you. Just all you gotta do is pay for the video, $20, and it's free to use the house band. And the house band can turn your song around and make it really, really sparkle. So it's something to consider. Check it out, kulakswoodshed.com. I'll just put that in the chat. So anyway, that's it. All right, Steve.
Also,
yeah, Lavrambe, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Maya. I was wondering if Maya is pursuing singer-songwriting, or is she just singing? What exactly? I was curious.
I'm just songwriting at the moment. I'm not a singer.
That was singing.
Exactly.
I just took my first lesson. I'll keep going with it.
Okay, next up we have Ed Lackey. This is called Sweet Deja Vu.
This is a song written by a friend of mine. He's the puts together the music. His wife writes the lyrics, and it's sort of a soft jazz melody, but it's not like a normal song. It has no verse and chorus, so you'll have to listen to like it. And I think you'll probably like it pretty much.
Mute yourself, Stephen.
Deja vu, deja vu. If you were someone I used to know, I would never let you go. Could never forget someone like you. Is this really deja vu? Never been here before. This should have happened. This should have happened before. Oh, it feels like deja vu. Nothing is as it seems. Did I see you in a dream? Yeah, it feels like deja vu. Oh, deja vu. Can this be true? No, it can't be. We've never been here before. Oh, we've been here before. Oh, deja vu. If you were someone I used to know, I would never let you go. Let you go. Never forget someone like you. Is this really deja vu? This is impossible. Never been here before. This should have happened long ago. This should have happened before. Feels like a deja vu. I would never let you go. Never forget someone like you. Is this really deja vu? This is impossible. Never been here before. Should have happened long.
Thank you, Ed, for bringing that piece here. You can turn your mic on if you like.
What'd you think of it?
Well, first of all, I like the groove. The vocal harmonies are really nice. This is one of those things that I think that if an artist is going to do this, they need to carry this song from a personality standpoint, because it's more like broad strokes on a painting. There isn't a story that sort of begins and has an arc and ends. And I'm not really sure what the connection is between what happened before and what's happening now. I'm getting that, she goes like, there wasn't anything concrete for me to go other than that it's a feeling. And so there's obviously some emotion in the performance. I'm getting that. And I mean, my only a reference point here, of course, is the song that Dionne Warwick was it Dionne Warwick and Isaac Hayes did, called Deja Vu. I don't know if you're familiar with that song or not.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So when we're talking about deja vu, it's kind of like, okay, what are the connections from the past that are present now that are bringing up this whole concept of, wow, we did that before, or I knew you, or something like that. So I didn't have anything to latch onto there, which made it seem like, okay, this is just a cool little groove about something happening, something magic is happening now that happened in another life between those people that's being discussed, which means I have to kind of contribute that much to the song to get any more significance out of it. Otherwise, it's just a really good groove. And it's a romantic kind of a piece. It could go well in a film, especially when someone's thinking about, whoa, haven't we done this before, kind of a thing. And then those lyrics work. Like what Jimmy was saying before on the other song that was more introspective and more rhetorical. And I love R&B, and I love this kind of arrangement and stuff like that. And it's like that. But it all depends on who you're pitching it to. Because I think it's grooving, and I think that there is a place for it. But if lyrically there's more of a story in there that connects the past and the present, I would be more interested in the message. So instead, I was just kind of taking in the harmonies and the smoothness of it. And like you said, it's like a smooth jazz kind of a vibe. And that's what I got out of that. It was more of a thing that would be cool to have in the background. But for songwriters, I'd like to be able to have things in the foreground. I want my interest to be pulled from what I'm doing to, who is this? The message has to be so compelling to me that all of a sudden I go, wait a minute, who's this artist? Like when you hear things on the radio and you go like, I want to wait to the end of this song because I want to know who it is. So that's just the two sides of the coin for this piece. I think it's really good and it's really smooth in the genre that it's in. But if you want to make it something that somebody else might want to do, there probably needs to be more of a story, a personal story that connects whoever the artist is with the concept. That's my...
Very good. I like all of your comments.
Okay.
This is not bad for a guy that hates computers and has just learned to operate one.
Hey man, create what makes you happy. And if you do what makes you happy, I think other people will catch on to that too. There's obviously some joy in the piece. There is emotion in the piece. It's not a computer song. I didn't pick up on that at all. I actually got, wow, there's life in this, which is a good time to bring up what I think of AI. Because a lot of people are going like, oh, people are just going to go do AI and they're going to create all this AI stuff. The one thing that's missing from AI is the spirit. There is no artificial spirit. There can be, AI is only the sum of its parts, which are other people's spiritual creations. It has no spirit of its own. And it is only programmed by people who have a certain spirit. So AI is never going to replace creativity. It's just going to reorient things that have already been done and present them in a way that sounds like, oh, well, that's pretty interesting. But it's never going to have a heart. And everything that I've been listening to tonight here, all these pieces, they all have heart. That's what songwriting is all about. That's what art's all about. The quality of communication, communicating an emotional impact, you know. And how good does it have to be technically? Just good enough to create an emotional impact. If you get the emotional impact, you don't have to go any further. Some people will try and go way on the other side of the spectrum technically to make something what they consider to be perfect. But what's interesting is that I've heard some of these things that have been remixed. You know, there's guys out there, and people now that are remixing records that were done 40, 50 years ago to make them sound better. And when you listen to them, you go like, you know, they may be more in tune, but they're not better. They're not better than the ones that were released in the beginning, where the engineers had no automation and where everybody just put their heart into it, and you got that heart from the song, which is what I liked about the Laurel Canyon vibe. There was so much heart in that music. And why I admire songwriters as a whole, because you guys are bucking the trend, you know. You're creating stories from things that have inspired you, or you're creating stories out of whole cloth that you hope will inspire others. And just with the small sampling I've had tonight with SongNet, you know, I'm inspired by the variety of what's been presented here today. I think Jimmy's doing a wonderful job to host a group like this.
Yeah.
I get a chance to hear everybody hear this stuff where I've never done this sort of thing before, but I'm glad that I did, and I certainly wouldn't mind doing it again.
It's actually
real quick, I just wanted to say the reference you brought up, the Isaac Hayes and Dionne Warwick song. I think if Ed goes back and listens to that, I think that might kind of coincide with what you were talking about, because he's telling the story right off the bat.
Yeah.
In that one, and I just think that was an excellent reference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deja Vu by Dionne Warwick.
Yeah, Dionne Warwick with Isaac Hayes, Dionne Warwick. Yeah.
Yeah, he wrote it and produced.
Yeah, right. He's a co-writer on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Isaac was in my studio one time.
You know, there's no biography on him. I was trying to find one. There is absolutely no autobiography on Isaac Hayes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm so glad that I grew up with the music that I did. I went to Danny Elfman and I were in the same class in school, elementary school and junior high, and I went to Audubon Junior High on the other side of Crenshaw, just where I happened to end up, and I like to say I got my soul at Audubon, because Audubon was a predominantly black school. And Asians and Caucasians like myself were in the minority, but they had a wonderful orchestra program, and I was in orchestra, and I just really got my groove in that school. And then I went to Hamilton High School, which was a complete letdown. It was not at all like Audubon. It didn't have any soul, and I was glad to finish and move on with my life, you know. But I grew up surrounded by Motown and all that kind of stuff, and that was gotten in my DNA. And then later I picked up bass guitar on top of keyboards and percussion I'd been playing for years, and blues harp, and I became a bass player when I was in the Air Force, and it took me in a whole nother path. So I love R&B. It's just some of the most amazing music. I helped Terry Steele produce in my studio Here and Now. He wrote the song. 5 years later, Luther Vandross made it a hit. And we have all heard that song, you know, Here and Now. So
Do you think R&B works with the house concerts, though?
It does, because I've had people come in with a small group, like a trio.
Okay.
And percussion. And we have had, who did I have? I had Um, Joe, I forgot. Joe Toronto was um, Al Jarreau's music director.
Okay.
He came in as a solo artist and he played stuff. He produced Brenda Russell and wrote some stuff with her,
Hmm.
and it was him. And he came and he did some R&B. I had Jeffrey Young in here. Do you know who he is?
No.
He played with Sting in the Tuscany tour, and he was also Jackson Brown's keyboard player and backup singer. And
Okay.
he's an amazing R&B writer and stuff, and he performed in our house concert.
So is
So,
that something that we could address later?
well, you can go to my website and go to all of the concerts that you see, and you'll see who the performers were and what they played. I had one guy had like 5 pieces in here. We crammed 5 pieces, including percussion, bass, piano, guitar, and one other singer, I think. And that was a great show.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, we can squeeze them in. Um, but yeah, if anybody who is interested in performing, and I can see a reel of what you've done, so I can see if it's something that I think is gonna work for our people and be able to bring people in. I'm willing to start up the house concerts again. I think we need that. The community needs that.
Or should we email you, or what should we do?
You can email me. Yeah, just stay in touch, and I can also let Jimmy know if we're going to be putting something together. If I put something together, then I can invite you all to it, and then you can see how it works and decide whether if that's something you want to be able to do and something you can do. I'll let you know right now that I have very high standards as far as the 4 aspects of what a successful house concert's all about. Number one, the material that you write has to be great. Number two, your ability to perform it, musicianship has to be great. You have to be able to communicate with the audience and tell the stories. And there's one other factor in there somewhere that I forgot. Oh yeah, it has to be really about something that you're bringing to the audience and not so much about me, like no introspection. You have to be able to be there and tell your stories, play the music, and be comfortable doing it. And the material has to be right. So those are the people I chose. And when you go down and watch some of the videos on my website from the house concert series, you'll see that in every performer. This is their life. This is what they do. And we're all richer for it. So if you aspire to that standard and you think you can do it, and I can see some video of you doing that in front of a group, because concertsinyourhome.com, everybody had videos of the artist performing in front of an audience at a house concert. So I could see that they could pull it off or not. And then once I saw, oh wow, this person's great, I definitely want this person to play here. And I want the vibe, the material needs to be something I'm going, I think the world needs to hear this. And by me being able to record it, it means that at some point the world could hear it anywhere in the world. So that's what I bring to the table here. So yeah, check out some of the artists that have performed for us, and I think you'll find some stuff that really is exceptional.
I'm sure Steve and Jimmy have a couple more songs.
Yeah, 3 more. Yeah.
Okay, good. These are people in absentee.
Well, this one's mine, and then there are 2.
Okay.
There are 2 that we can play if you want that are absent. So that's your call, really. It depends on your timing.
It's fine. I like listening to the whole songs too, unless there's nothing happening for me. I mean, all these songs had enough for me to be able to go, okay, that's that. I mean, the first song, I think I had heard what I needed to hear, but everything else was like, okay, where is this going? So yeah, all right. I didn't realize that Stephen was part of this too, but of course you should be, and Jimmy as well. Do we have anything from Jimmy as well? I'd like to hear that. But go ahead. I'll mute here.
Okay. Rather than sort of giving away the story, if you will, I'm going to play it first, and I'll tell you the story afterwards. How about that? This is called Art Creating Art. One thing I will say, normally I try to place my songs in film and TV. This is a bit more of an artist song than it is a placement song, but maybe not. I don't know. I'll let you be the judge. Let's see here.
Okay. Mute yourself.
She thinks I'm sleeping, but out of the corner of my eye I see her reflection. She stands naked, brush in hand before a canvas, painting something I can't see. She's art, creating art. She stands like a ballerina. Her body should be carved in marble and placed next to David and Florence. She's art, creating art. Art, art, art. How did I get here? Her solo dance, her spirit free upon a high porch. My curious eyes, her finger pointed to come in. Her light green dress fell to the floor. She's art, creating art. She stands like a ballerina. Her body should be carved in marble and placed next to David and Florence. She's art, creating art. Art, art. The beauty of her soul flows through her paintings, a master's touch against soft cello music. I'm feeling very mortal, lying near her. Will she see me again? She's art, creating art. She stands like a ballerina. Her body should be carved in marble and placed next to David in Florence. She's art, creating art. Art, art, art.
All right, Stephen. Tell us the story about that.
This was when I first moved to the West Coast. I was this kid from the Midwest, and I moved into a place in one hill north of Sausalito, and where there's this breathtaking environment all around you. And I was walking down into Sausalito to get some sushi, and I look up on the street where I'm walking, and there's this woman dancing on this porch above a garage to the Eye of the Tiger, that song.
Yeah.
And, it's one of those moments in your life where you go, how do I segue into this? And of course, I was too shy to say anything. I just kept walking and got my sushi. But this song is like how it should have turned out. And, so that's the beauty of songwriting, is you can take a factual thing and turn it into something that is the way it should be, if you will.
Right. Okay. So first of all, I love the vibe. I get it's an artist kind of a thing. I don't know how pitchable it is exactly to another person, but I mean, if an artist is in that vibe, I mean, look what David Bowie did, right? He did anything, right?
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing you have a strong persona like that, you can take it and totally get behind something like that. So, and it's an interesting story, although I thought that her dropping her dress after one line was kind of fast. Um, I thought that like, well, we didn't like have any build up to that. It was all like she said, come in and just dropped her clothes.
Yeah.
That's a little, I
Leap
think
of faith. Yeah. Right.
it's a fantasy, right?
Yeah.
Um, what I really wanted to hear, one little thing in here that I thought would really help the song is that the last line of the chorus is the same melody and everything as the first line of the chorus. And it felt like it was the beginning of the next chorus, and then you drop into the next verse. So I thought that there should have been maybe a little closer at that instead of art creating art, like art creating art. Then you go into your next, you set up your next verse now.
Okay.
Like
I
you
see what you
came,
mean,
like
yeah.
you bookended the thing, right?
Okay.
So for me, I was going like, is he going to repeat the chorus? No, it's whatever. So I kind of heard that as an option
Okay.
that I thought would separate those sections better for me.
Okay.
And then it lets the listener kind of close off there and go like, all right, I get it. I get that thing. And then now on to the next verse. It's kind of British to me, I like that it's the kind of thing that reminded me of 60s British vibe, rock storytelling, rock thing, Donovan-ish, just, it had that kind of thing. It was fun.
Yeah. In fact, one of the people I played this for a while back said almost exactly the same thing. He said, it sounds like a lost Donovan song.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that because
Right,
Donovan was unique.
Yeah.
It's like as soon as you heard Donovan, you knew it was Donovan. It didn't sound like anybody else.
Yeah.
Which is a great thing. But nobody's heard Donovan in a long time, and you're coming up with this piece, and all of a sudden it's like they might not even have Donovan to compare it to.
True. Yeah.
So now it's like a whole new thing. So thanks for telling the story, because I lived in Marin County for a year and a half, so I know where Sausalito is, and I know that whole vibe in that whole area, because there's a lot of people that are like, hippies and beyond that, took residence there. And I was young, and I got a chance to experience some really cool things up there. So, so I have the vibe. Like the production.
When I was mentioning an artist song, I meant me as the artist. I'm not sure who I could pitch it to. I guess I could pitch. There's always folk singers out there, or Donovan-ish people out there, but I'd have to really dig to figure out who they were, I guess.
Yeah, but then are you planning on performing this yourself?
Yeah, well, I'm a little bit beyond that, you might say. But you know how songs are. Sometimes you just write them, and they're for, you worry about what to do with it later. You just do it, Yeah.
Right. But what you can also do here is you could make like a great video of this.
Yeah.
And it could go viral, and you could get an income from that.
True.
I mean, a song like this with these kind of visuals, you could do some really cool things.
Yeah.
Now, there was one word that if I didn't have a lyric sheet, I wouldn't know because it was mixed down when the instruments came up. I think it was the word something at the end of something. If you have something, and all of a sudden I'm going, if I didn't have a lyric sheet, I wouldn't have heard that.
Oh, painting something that I can't
Yeah, so
see.
make sure that your message stays above enough. One thing about 60s songs is when you heard them on the radio, you heard all the words.
True. Yeah.
So if you have a vibe that's like that, you want that band there, but you also want the vocal to be above everything. And especially because I want to hear this, I want to hear the story. So let's let the music support it, but don't bury it.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay. Jimmy, what do you think? There's two more. Let's play the one from Lucy, who signed up. I don't know whatever reason was she didn't make it, but she was new, and so I figure we'll play hers. This one's called Siren Song. Let me get the lyrics up.
I had a hard time getting online, so that may be the problem.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Share.
lost at sea. Every way looks the same to you. Reach for me, take my hand and feel the cold, my child. Siren song, you're going under. Siren song, where did we go so wrong? And if the truth dawns on you when you pull your hand away, don't cry for me, don't see me. I cannot heal your mind. You're hearing sirens sing. Watching you, eyes of glass and hearts of stone. Reach for you. Take my hand and feel the cold, my child. Siren song, you're going under. Siren song, we're living under malice creeping. And if your feelings gain clarity and your heart gives us away, my willow shed a tear for us. You'll know my love once more when we meet below.
All right, I wanted to hear that to the end because I wanted to get the arc of what the piece was. I don't know that this is a pitchable piece. Sounds like a group performance in this genre, where it's one of those captivating things where you need, big sound, big lights, and you need concert setting for this. It's progressive rock. It's performance. It's also, it's got elements of new metal and old metal and stuff like that. There's a lot of visuals and stuff, but Lucy's not here, so I can't find out what the deal. Obviously, whoever sang this is not Lucy, as far as I know. It looks like she wrote it for someone to perform. So it is the kind of thing that U2 or Metallica or a group or Imagine Dragons or whatever, is that kind of a piece. So I can't, say one way or another about that. I totally got that this is something that needs to be experienced in a venue of some kind where there's a bunch of people to experience it together. It's a lot of, it's a work of art. It's not necessarily a songwriter-centric kind of thing. Like, you're not going to walk around singing this song after hearing it. Like a lot of songs are designed to do that. This is a performance piece. And in that regard, I think it's got an edge to it. It's dark. It's hard to put your finger on the intent of what's going on in this song. Whether this person's trying to bring someone down into their private hell or what. It's dark. It's that kind of a thing. But that just sort of rounds out the whole carousel of material that we heard here tonight, because it just shows you that there's creations in all genres. This is not a genre that I create in, but I've been a fan of progressive rock for a long time, and those kind of things that create entire moods, But like I came up with, with Genesis and Yes and bands like that created their soundscapes and their worlds with lyrics that didn't make any sense, but they painted worlds that you felt like you could imagine. So this is one of those things that is like that. So I'd love to have been able to talk to Lucy about it, but she's not here. So.
It reminded me of Tales of Brave Ulysses by Cream.
Yeah,
not in the music, but in the vibe.
It's just a kind of a vibe, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I'm glad I listened to it. I wanted to, the production on it was pretty good. Of course, without the lyric sheet, you can't at all hear some of that stuff that was done underneath. That was supposed to blend in. That was done for atmospherically. And I do want to make one point for everybody who's still here. When you submit lyric sheets to anyone, SongNet, and then anybody you plan to pitch to, make sure there's no typos. And make sure the words are right and everything else. I saw several of the pieces we did tonight had lots of typos in them. And when I see someone submit something and I see that there's typos all over the place, that immediately means I'm looking at something that's less professional than it should be. It's very easy to have someone else look at the thing and go like, I remember looking at this lyric and I'm going like, it goes, here's something, and I'm going, what does that mean? Oh, it was heart. And when it came by, I'm going, oh, that was missing. But there were several typos in that last lyric sheet there, and I'm going, get the typos fixed so that what we're hearing and what we're reading is exactly the same, and there isn't going to be any attention stuck on that. So just a small point, but I think it's important, especially if you're shopping your own material and you want people to have a good impression of what you're presenting.
Okay, last one. This is from Papa Satch. It's called Million Years.
Okay.
There's no lyric sheet for this one.
Will we get it right? Have no need to fight. Will we get it right? We will see the light. We will get uptight during the darkest night. At night. Will we get to say the way we feel? Will we get to play the games that are real? Do you know our way? Do you know the deal today? Okay. Where we'll be in a million years. Hold me close to allay my fears. Where we'll be in a million years. Alright, no tears. Wanna place a bet, there'll be no regrets. We'll find our way to a brand new day. The die is set to our future ways that day. It's okay. Where we'll be in a million years. We'll find our way to allay our fears. Where we'll be in a million years. Alright, it's clear. What's the future like? What do we want to do? What are we headed for? Haven't got a clue. What's it gonna be? A place of peace and love. Can you tell me what if it turns out to a place of hate and anarchy? Where we'll be in a million years. Hold me close to allay your fears. Where we'll be in a million years. Alright, no tears. Oh, where we'll be in a million years. Hold me close to allay your fears. Where we'll be in a million years. Alright, no tears, no tears. Oh, alright.
All right. I wish I had a lyric sheet for that one. I know he didn't provide one. A lot of the vocal was mixed into the music so much that it was hard to make out the words. And I'm still trying to figure out if he was saying where we'll be in a million years. Is that what he's singing? Where we'll, W-E apostrophe L-L, where we'll be or where will, W-I-L-L be. So I couldn't really, it was hard to make sense of this song. I like the concept of where will we be in a million years, but and I kind of like that hook, but I didn't, it didn't connect. Personally, I'm surprised actually, because I thought, okay, this is going to be good. I'm just like, is it like where will we be in a million years? And then if that's what it is, where will be, but not where will we be. If you're saying where we'll be is like, okay, this is where we're going to be in a million years. But that's a question. So I don't know. It's interesting. I couldn't, and then everything else was just little paintings of little snippets of stuff. I couldn't connect it. I would have loved to have seen the lyric sheet to kind of see what where the story was, but I couldn't understand half the words. So, which is, I guess, the moral of the story is that if you're going to submit a song, present a lyric sheet. Yeah. Because if I don't understand all the words and it's not mixed to the point where I can hear them all, then what good is it? You know, nobody else is going to understand it either. So first you got to hear all the words, then you can decide what the story is. So I thought that the music was good. Would have liked to have known more where the message was and the story behind it. That's my take on it.
That's very much Springsteen. I mean, couldn't really understand Springsteen either. Even the glockenspiel in there, that was totally Springsteen.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the kind of song I'd play in the bands when I used to play in bands. Yeah, we'd played a lot of harmony stuff like this, and this would have been fit right in with that, you know, late 60s, early 70s, mid 70s vibe. Yeah.
But the thing about Springsteen is you could hear his voice and he told a story. You know, Baby We Were Born to Run. I mean, it's a story. This was just some ideas put together, and half the words I don't understand, so I don't know what he's saying.
I couldn't understand half the words in that song, actually.
Yeah.
You know,
so,
suicide machine. Right? I have no idea what half of that song was about, but
yeah. Anyway, but that's my take on it. I'd like to have seen the lyric sheet on that so I could kind of hear what I was missing, and then I probably could make a better judgment on it. At the same time, the way it is, it could work for a scene in a movie, because it is not latching on to any particular thing, and all they have to do is have characters interacting with each other and riding off on the motorcycle, you know, where we'd be in a million years. You know, it could work like that.
Source music.
Yeah, or even source music that sounds like Springsteen but isn't, kind of a thing. But there you go, another genre of music. And now, is the person singing it, is that the writer who sang that, Papa Sach? Or is it somebody else singing it?
He sounds the same on all his stuff, so I assume it's him, but I don't know that for a fact. Jimmy, do you know?
Yeah, I think that is actually him.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
that's all we have. And Jimmy, you got any closing
Does anybody have
thoughts,
any
comments?
questions for me?
Actually, I was going to ask you about the random acts of breadness.
Oh, yeah, that's completely different, right?
Yeah, but it's actually following your passion, and that's something that you talk about. So
exactly. Yeah, story of my life is I just do what I love, and then people pay me for it. It's really weird. But I mean, that happened with the music and the recording studio. It happened with graphic design. People wanted packaging for their albums, and I paid someone to do something on something, and I looked at the result, and I'm like, well, I could have done a better job than that. And I do have a graphic design background, and Audubon Junior High, I took drafting and print shop, and the stuff I learned back then serves me well today. I ended up creating loads of album packages and stuff for clients. And one of the last things I've done most recently is a client recorded a major project with me here, an album. And obviously it's going to be released on CD. And I told them, I said, you know, we need a 12-inch album jacket for this CD project. And I'm going to grab it for you and show it to you. Because with the resurgence of vinyl and people paying $36 for a record, for a vinyl record, I'm going, you know, a CD is going to get lost in the crowd. So this is the 12-inch package for my client's disc. See? I'll show this here. It's called The Writing on the Wall, and all of the song titles are in some type of graffiti spray paint mock-up thing that I did in my graphics tools. And then the inside is this guy's philosophy of spirituality and other stuff. He's got his whole little thing for that. And then we get into the book. This is a 16-page full-color book where every page has, this has got the table of contents and stuff, and then lyrics, who did what. Every single page is, I mean, this is an amazing project. And we had the package done at Stoughton in City of Industry. They're one of the oldest and most amazing album jacket producers. They've done it for like 5 decades. They've made the records for so many iconic albums that we've seen that have fancy cutout covers and things like that. And here's where I put the CD in an envelope right here. And then this is all the credits and stuff here. And he did a boutique pressing of 500 of these things, and he sold them for, you know, $36. The same thing. If someone has a vinyl record collection, they can put this right next to their vinyl records. And it would hold its own because it's probably the best package of any of the vinyl records that anybody has. So it was expensive to produce. It ended up costing about $15 a record to make. Most of that's in the package. But that just kind of shows you, I got into that because I thought I could do a better job than what I'd paid for. And then I did video production, and that took off as well. And then, of course, I've been a website designer for years, and I started teaching people how to do that. And then in 2016, I had a wild idea in November. I wonder if I could make sourdough bread. And I started on this journey, and by Christmas time, I created something that I thought looked good, tasted good, so my wife wrapped them up. We gave some away as presents, and everybody went nuts over this sourdough bread that I baked. And I thought, wow, I wasn't expecting that at all. I'm having so much fun, I'm going to give bread away every week. Because with a living sourdough starter, you have to use it every week. So we'd make 4 loaves of bread, keep 1, give 3 away. Randomly, it became Random Acts of Breadness. And people, I had a list of like 100 people to give this bread to, because studio clients, friends, family, and by the time I was giving out the bread, people were getting upset that they have to wait 6 months to get a free loaf of bread, because I had 100 people on my list. And they wanted to buy it, and I said, no, it's not for sale, it's only for giving. And this went on for 4 years and 800 loaves of bread. And then finally I gave up because people were really beating me up. And I said, all right, I'll put some pieces in place and see what happens. So I got my food manager certificate, actually. I did the food handler and then food manager. So I could open any restaurant in California, or I could run any restaurant in California if I wanted to. I started doing pop-ups at my house and making food that was all lectin-free and no inflammation and healthy, and my bread fit right in. People were freaking out on the food. And then all of a sudden the place became available, and I opened the Sourdough Bakery in Burbank in 2021, and we sold out in 2 hours. And we're still in business today. We're 2214 West Magnolia Boulevard in Burbank, 2.5 blocks east of Buena Vista. We've been open 3.5 years. And we sell sourdough bread and things that go with sourdough bread, and some gluten-free items. Our sourdough happens to be gluten neutral, so people that are gluten sensitive can eat it without getting sick. And we've made quite a name for ourselves. And I love it. I love being able to do what I love, and people are paying me for it. So you can go to breadness.com and see what that's all about. So, and Harriet Schock, of course, most of you should know Harriet, amazing singer, songwriter, performer, teacher. She's one of my best customers. And when they made the movie about her, I gave bread away as incentives on the crowdfunding campaign. So people paid $100 to get a loaf of my bread shipped anywhere in the United States. And I thought that was such a cool way to support the making of her documentary, which is great. So Random Acts of Breadness, it's a songwriting thing. You know, I started giving away stuff and I'm going, you know, this is like Random Acts of Breadness. It could have been a song. And that's what it started. So I love seeing people come in that are completely strangers to me, and they taste the bread and their life changes, you know, and they all get how much passion and love we put into this. And as a result, we've had some amazing songwriters and composers and actors and stuff that are customers of ours that I would have never met otherwise. Some of these people are Oscar nominated, platinum. Dennis McCarthy's one of our customers, and of course he wrote all the music for many of the episodes of Star Trek, Next Generation, some of the movies. He was Glenn Campbell's music director and MacGyver, score composer for MacGyver. And these guys come in and it's like, I don't ask who they are for maybe 3 or 4 times, and I go, what do you do? Oh, I'm a composer. You know, why? You know, it's like, that's the life that I'm living right now. You know, I do what I love. And I'm glad to have reconnected with the audio engineers group because I've been so busy with my studio and with the bakery that one of my customers is Bobby Alsinski, and he's an audio guy who wrote some amazing books that people train on at these music program colleges. And he told me about the Wednesday night thing, or the Wednesday lunch at Berrigan's. So I went to Berrigan's to attend one of these things, and Jimmy was there. So that's kind of how this all got started. And he said, hey, I'm doing this. And so it's been great reconnecting up with my posse in the audio world and doing bread too. So glad to have been here. Glad you guys stuck around. And glad to hear your works. And one of these days I'll get to hear Jimmy's stuff.
Actually, I noticed that you had an MS-16 sitting there.
You what's that?
The Tascam MS-16.
Oh yeah, you like that?
Is it working?
It still works. I
Okay.
have a tape library going back 50 years.
Me too.
So all the stuff I have here, I have to be able to play back on. Now, if your tapes need baking, I have the thing to do that as well.
The food dehydrator one?
I have the food dehydrator, yeah.
Yep.
So they need the Ronco food dehydrator. If you need to bake the tape so we can cure it before we run it, you know, I have that capability as well. I have a 1/2-inch 8-track, a 1-inch 16, 1/4-inch 4-track, and 1/4-inch 1/2-inch and 1/4-inch 1/2-track 2-track machines.
Yeah.
And I have a turntable too, which happens to be at Audio Specialist right now next to Kulak's. Thank you, Jimmy, for recommending him.
Sure.
It's going to take 6 weeks, but it'll be fixed, you know.
Great.
So great to connect. And nice to meet you, Stephen, and everybody else who's here.
Okay, and I will definitely owe you lunch next, not this coming Wednesday, but the following for sure. So.
Yeah, well, I don't know when I can make the next one, but when I do, I'll be sure to let you know.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
Thanks for coming out, Randall. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate it.
Okay, and send me a copy of the chat. When I clicked on file, it asks for something else.
It should.
Oh no, if you
I
go to
clicked
the
on
3
file.
dot, it's right
Go to the
next
top
to
3, yeah.
the 3 dots, and
Oh
you
no, I
click on that.
was at the bottom. Let me go to the top and see. Oh, save chat.
Yeah.
They moved it. It used to be at the bottom.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I got it. I got the chat. So
All right, great.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and
All
our
right.
next guest in June will be Joanne Ledesma, so we'll see you guys then.
Okay. Keep
right.
creating.
Okay, have a good one. Good night.
Thank you, Randy.
All right.